Hey Pokemon fans, Real Mama Eagle here, also known as Key, and today I'm here to rank all the Pokemon starter groups from Generation 1 to Generation 8. The opinions in this video are my own based off what I like to use when it comes to learn sets, design, overall aesthetics of the starters, and how they fit together. Keep in mind with Gen 9 coming out, I do realize I'm making a lot of ranking videos, so I do plan to make one big video where I rank the Gen 9 starters, criminal teams, etc. with everything else we've done so far, so that should be a lot of fun. Before we get into this list though, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment below, and let me know what you think about the starter groups and where you would rank them. Now let's get started. Number 8. Generation 8. Now, I know it's a bit harsh for me to put the most recent generation of Pokemon starters as a group as number 8 on the spot, but it definitely is the case for multiple reasons. Now, I do like the 3 for competitive reasons. You definitely could find an edge there. Obviously, with Rillaboom, you have the great HP and attack. With Cinderace, you have the great attack and you have the great speed. And with Inteleon, you have the great special attack and speed. So they're definitely useful in that case. I don't like the fact that all final forms have one single type, though. That was definitely my biggest issue with the starter group when Gen 8 came out, because since Gen 3, we've been spoiled with the final form having 2 types, more versatility, more moves, and made it an all-around more fun experience in battle. So I think that all 3 of them hurt by that. I do think Cinderace is the best designed of the 3. I do love all 3 having their own signature moves. Rillaboom is designed well. I do like the drum, a bit muscly for me. Inteleon's design is definitely one I like the least, because it's got that humanoid sleek body, but also the lizard-like, so it's kind of always been a bit strange for me. And then every time I replay Gen 8, I never pick Sobble just because I know what it's going to turn out like. Gen 8 definitely has some great potential in the starters. They could have elaborated on a bit more, but worthy of 8 to me because I do feel like collectively they are the least memorable. Number 7, Generation 5. I know you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, Key finally put something that is Gen 5 lower on her list, but the Gen 5 starters are worthy to be in this place. Don't get me wrong, I do like them. I've used all 3 of them, but every time I play Gen 5, I kind of sigh because the group has always been so underwhelming. I generally pick Snivy or Oshawott every single time I play. Now, don't get me wrong, Superior is probably the best of the 3 when you look at aesthetics and overall stats, because it's definitely a tank on defense and it's got some good speed. Samurott and Emboar are pretty much all HP and all attack for the most part, but a little bit on the slower side. So Superior, like I said, best design of the 3. I love that vine snake-like body. I think it's so beautiful, so it gets a pass. But Samurott, you have like Duat going from this otter-looking creature to like a strange creature with all these shells, and I just always thought the evolution was a bit strange. Love it, love the moveset, but that was always a bit weird for me aesthetically. Emboar has a lot of power, but Emboar has that weird patterning on its body that I think is a bit overdone. Same with the flames, and obviously it was the 3rd straight generation of a fire and fighting combination, so we were pretty much tired of it at that point. Love Gen 5 to pieces, but this group has always been very underwhelming. Number 6, Generation 2. Now don't get me wrong, I adored the Generation 2 starters growing up, except for Meganium. I just don't like Meganium, I'm so sorry. But Generation 2 starters over time have definitely become a little bit on the dull side for me. They all do have one pure type in their final form, so not as versatile as other starters in other generations. Now, Typhlosion is my baby and I love it to pieces, but it's pretty much all speed. The rest of his stats are kind of poor and they kind of suck, and it's one of those Pokemon that can pack a punch but can just as easily get packed up. I do like its learn set and its overall design. Love the flame body. I just wish it had better stats. Meganium is one of those Pokemon that when I see it visually, I like it aesthetically. I do like the big flower and the dinosaur concept, but Meganium to me is probably one of my most hated starters of all time, just for the simple fact that it's all aesthetics and nothing else. It's got good defense, but it's also got one of the worst learn sets ever, and that's my common issue with pure type grass Pokemon. Now, Feraligatr actually has the best learn set of the 3, learning dark moves besides ice and water moves as well, can learn fighting moves. But again, with the base stat total, it's mainly only known for attack and defense. Everything else, it sucks as far as stats. So this group, while still very nostalgic and very fun, definitely a bit overrated over time and are worthy of number 6. Number 5. Generation 6. Now, I've heard mixed reviews about Gen 6 starters over the years, and to be perfectly honest, I kind of get the mixed reviews. There are good things and bad things about all 3. When you look at Greninja, you have that majestic, beautiful, athletic, nimble design that I adore so much. I almost always pick Froakie every time I play Gen 6 because I'm obsessed with Greninja. But Greninja statistically is pretty much mostly speed and not much else. So I do get that that could be a liability in a lot of cases. But the dual typing of water and dark is phenomenal. It opens up the moveset a bit more, allowing Greninja to learn a lot. So that's definitely what gave it the edge over the water starters that I ranked previously. Chestnut is definitely a design that I never really liked that much. I always thought it was big, burly, and kind of weird, especially with its arms. Always a bit strange of a design for me. But I do like Chestnut's versatility. It was the first time they did grass and fighting as a final combination for a starter, which I thought was pretty freaking cool. I do love its moveset, and I do love the fact that it's got that defense. So it is pretty strong, but stats rest of the way, not so great. Now, if you look at Delphox, I actually think Delphox is the cutest of the three, but I understand why people have issues with Delphox's design. It has that cute little fox head holding that adorable torch, but then you go down, you have that human-like body with that grass, hairy type of skirt, which is kind of weird. So I get why some people might look at Delphox's design and be like, what's that? But I do love the fact that it was fire and psychic, first time it was ever done for a starter, which gives Delphox an absolutely killer moveset. Delphox actually has the most balanced stats out of all three of these starters, and I do think collectively as a group they have a lot of versatility, which is why they're not super low on the list. But the questionable design pattern and method of all three combined is why they're not higher. Number 4, Generation 1. Now, Generation 1 starters have aged actually pretty well over time, despite my feelings about Generation 1 in general, but I do think that all three starters still hold up well, still do a great job, and when I play Gen 1, I regularly do rotate them. I primarily choose Charmander, I'm not gonna lie, but all three definitely have positives and negatives. The negatives of all three is that their base stat totals are a bit inconsistent. All three kind of suffer on the HP and attack side of the spectrum, but they do excel in special attack, special defense, and other stats at the bottom. So it's a bit unbalanced as far as base stat total with all three. I do think Charizard has a design that is the best of all three, with that beautiful dragon with wing shape. We're gonna ignore the Gen 1 sprites though for Charizard because they're absolutely terrible. But Charizard has definitely always been the most majestic. My only gripe with Charizard honestly has really only been its typing, because I do think it should be fire and dragon and not fire and flying. But Charizard has always had a versatile moveset and always had that killer speed. Venusaur, I love the fact that it always was part poison, gives you a little bit more versatility in battle. Always liked the design with the plant, the big plant coming out of the top. Always thought that was pretty neat. And as far as Blastoise goes, always very intimidating with the cannons. Blastoise to me is the most one-dimensional of the three as far as like pure typing and learn set. But I do think as a group, they've held out pretty well over time and why they definitely deserve to be top 4. Number 3, Generation 7. I have to hand it to Game Freak because Sun and Moon did such a good job making 3 starters that were versatile, unique, and really embodied the region. I think Gen 7 excelled on all counts with these starters. Let's start with Incineroar. Now, Incineroar is my least favorite of 3 only because it's got that big, burly wrestling type body. I don't know what it is about me, but some of those over muscled Pokemon have always been weird for me. But Incineroar has killer typing, being fire and dark. They did not give us fire and fighting again. Thank you, Gen 7. So that was definitely a nice break. But Incineroar has a great combination with fire and dark, as I said, so has a great moveset, has a lot of strength. And Incineroar, out of all 3 of the starters in Gen 7, has the best spread base stat total. It gives you everything. Good special attack, good HP, good attack, good. It's just good all around in battle and great in competitive. Primarina to me is probably one of the most beautiful Pokemon in all of the entire Pokemon universe. I love the water and fairy typing, which makes for a very unique learn set. Primarina really only has good special attack and good special defense. Not really great stat-wise everywhere else, but visually and aesthetically and moveset-wise, it's definitely an amazing Pokemon. As far as Decidueye, definitely one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I love the fact that it's grass and ghost killer typing. Love Spirit Shackle, warms my heart. I think that is definitely the best designed of the 3 as far as pure creativity. And it's got some good stats too, balanced closer to Incineroar's, but not as great on attack and HP. But this group just embodied its region, probably the best of all the regions. A few flaws that didn't make them get top 2 or top 1, but definitely worthy of top 3. Number 2. Generation 4. Generation 4 has a timeless group of starters that never gets boring. Reason why every time I play Gen 4, I struggle to pick between the 3 still, because they're all just so wonderful. They all have evenly spread base stat total for the most part, except for Torterra, who has criminally low speed, but we're gonna ignore that. But they do pretty much balance each other out all around, have great designs that are very unique, and all have dual types that present great coverage in battle against different opponents, which I love. I love Empoleon's intimidating penguin design. I love the water and steel typing, which is very versatile and gives Empoleon that extra defense in battle, which makes it tough to take down. Torterra has that really cool turtle-like design with a tree growing out, which I always thought was cool. Torterra to this day is still one of my favorite grass starters. We'll ignore the criminally low speed, but it does have great balance in HP, attack, and defense all around, so definitely fun. I thought the grass and ground was a phenomenal typing, which gave it a great learn set, because y'all know how I feel about grass Pokemons with one-dimensional learn sets. Infernape was a second straight generation of fire and fighting that some people complain about, but Infernape did have that killer design. You had that really cool monkey with the fire. You had the beautiful color pattern on it. Had a great versatile learn set, had killer speed. You could definitely learn fighting moves that were very strong. You had the fire, you had a lot of versatility, and I just love that. This is a group of starters where there's no wrong choice and they've not aged badly at all. So definitely worthy of top 2 or 1. Number 1, Generation 3. Generation 3 to date still has one of the best Pokedexes, so it actually is fitting that all 3 of their starters will make number 1 on this list for many reasons. Sceptile, Blaziken, and Swampert are all phenomenal in their own right. Swampert is actually the most balanced of the 3, having killer base stat totals from top to bottom as far as balance with speed, attack, special defense, everything. And it only has 1 weakness in grass, which is amazing in battle and amazing in competitive. Also has a killer learn set as well. Blaziken, fire and fighting, but it's a fire and fighting Pokemon that can also learn flying moves, so it had a ton of versatility and it had speed that was absolutely off the charts. When it comes to Sceptile, I love the fact that Sceptile was a pure grass type that had a different learn set. And that's what makes Sceptile one of the best grass Pokemon to date, because it was just grass, but it could learn fighting moves, it could learn ground moves, it could learn dragon moves. It was just so versatile with really great stats all around and a killer design. All 3 Pokemon in this generation were just beautifully designed. I know some people might say Blaziken Fire Chicken, but it's very intimidating. I love its long legs. It's very cool. I love the fact that Swampert just looks like it's gonna run you over, and it's like, don't get in my way, don't mess with me. And Sceptile is a really cool grass Pokemon just hanging out, intimidating but still cool at the same time. You want to be its friend. Let's also mention the fact that all 3 have mega evolutions that are amazing, and that adds to the awesome factor of all 3 of them. So that is what makes the Gen 3 starters number 1 on this list and still the best so far. I want to know how you would rank all the Pokemon starters from worst to best. Talk to me in the comments section below and let me know if you have any different feelings than I do about the starters. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. And don't forget that I'm Real Mama Eagle on all social media platforms, and I do live streams at twitch.tv/Real Mama Eagle. I do want to thank you all for watching and thank you all for your support and look forward to my next video. I'll see you soon.